81 I hope you will take charge of the in front. Girls are very powerful. The training ability of Konoha is much better than before, and many things that I've seen before have appeared. I'm very satisfied with my name. Male ninjas are often at a disadvantage among ninjas. Over the years, very few female ninjas have become famous, and medical ninjas are even rarer. Both Nohara Rin and Yuhi Kurenai had excellent combat skills. Full Sunset. Even though the daimyo wasn't a ninja, she'd still see something. Back when Nohara was first caught in a genjutsu, she had the ability to finish her off with a. After all, not many people would survive that. This is all thanks to Kanda Kyochi. He is very talented in education, and Kurenai is his student. Kanda Kyochi, he's a medical ninja. His ninjutsu skills are second only to Tsunade's. Aiming narrowed his eyes and looked toward the audience. Second only to Tsunade. Such a comment is quite alarming. He is a genius just like the Sekishin. Such a person cannot be used for your purposes. He sighed inwardly, but, the daimyo suddenly then looked towards Kyochi and said with considerable surprise, is that Tsunade? Tsunade just returned to the village a few days ago. 3 generations beamed with smiles. Those within the family know best what's going on. Still uncertain whether Tsunade will stay or she returns. The daimyo, however, would not think that. He was happy to see Tsunade return. Putting aside other things, Tsunade's ability to heal a group of ninjas alone is enough to change the course of a battle. However, Tsunade also possesses powerful ninjutsu and command abilities, making a formidable fighter. To her return, Konoha is not afraid to face 2 great ninja villages alone. This is a sure thing. Daimyo had no interest in the battles that would. But, the next time, he learned truly amazing things were. Shisui versus Kai. Might Guy opened the door, while Shisui used his instantaneous move to its fullest extent, and the tears were everywhere in the arena. The battle between Kurenai Yuhi and Rihara is considered a novel medical ninja. This time it's a real hand-to-hand combat. A clash between swordsmanship and physics. Uchiha-style swordsmanship, Konoha-style swordsmanship, wind-release swordsmanship. That's all. It's beautiful, but, it just didn't seem very cool, and in the end, it was defeated by that comical-looking ninja. I don't understand the name. But, Threesians understand. That kid Shisui backing off again. Even if Shisui went all out, he'd definitely be no match for Might Guy had opened the 8 gates. His overall strength is definitely above Shisui's at this stage. So, this arranged fine. Since everyone has demonstrated theirs and Shisui himself doesn't want this arrangement is the best outcome. After the event, Jingyi left the venue. Who should be promoted and who'd been promoted was already decided and this is just going through the motions. After watching the 3rd episode, Kyochi and Tsunade went to the hospital to check on Hayato's physical condition. Surgery was perfect. He's recovering very and should be able to move around in a week at most. How long will it take to recover to a normal of physical fitness? That's hard to say. Tsunade shook her head. There is no precedent for the bloodline has been exposed, and it is impossible to observe the specific situation. We still need to observe and record the data. We can try a method of periodically removing. Let's see if we can meet the requirements for the teleportation technique while ensuring good health. As Jingyi spoke, he thought of the 8 gate formation and the breathing revitalization. The learners of the first and 10 gates of the 8 gates formation and revitalization technique are similar, and I think they should have regular checkup treatments. Tsunade stopped in her tracks after hearing, thought for a long time, and then noddedly, saying, that makes sense. He had more in mind than Kyochi. Regularly checking and recording data not only is the health of ninjas, but also, with help of a large amount of data, may improve the effectiveness of ninjutsu. Reduce side effects and lower the barrier for use. Regular physical examinations be arranged. You brat, all you do is assign me jobs. Are you afraid I'll leave the village? Oh, haven't you already made up your mind? He chuckled. Tsunade was speechless. This kid, he deduced the answer from this after hearing this, then asked in eyes, Lady Tsunade, are we not leaving? You want to continue wandering? Oh, no, I want to stay in Konoha. Silently, I said hesitantly. He had previously wandered with Tsunade, a life that was unstable and unsuitable for improving herself. I'm not leaving for now. Hokage's office. The 3rd Hokage met with daimyo and had just sent Minato to escort the daimyo back using the Thunder God technique. He then began to deal with the affairs of the few days, but before long, he saw a special information scroll. It came from the hospital. What could possibly happen at Konoha Hospital? He opened the scroll, glanced at it, pondered for a moment, and then a genuine smile on his face. Psychological medicine. Regular inspection required. These are all excellent measures. If it were just these 2 proposed were approved, it wouldn't have made 3rd generation so happy. What delighted him was the proposer. Tsunade, Kanda Kyochi. Go and call Tsunade over. No, just have Kyochi come over. The 3rd Hokage initially wanted to call out Tsunade. After thinking about it, I decided it. Tsunade is too difficult to talk to, let Kyochi do it instead. Kyochi received the news and roughly knew what was going on, and Tsunade was not. The old man will definitely agree. He arrived at the building. The 3rd Hokage had been really waiting. As soon as he arrived, he stood up to welcome him and excitedly asked, Tsunade isn't leaving. She needs to oversee psychological medicine and regular cups. He's not leaving for now, and I don't know what will happen next. Temporarily, that's fine too. The Hokage was disappointed. He also knew Tsunade's condition, and it was already very difficult for her to agree to take charge of these tasks for the time. He sighed and took out the scroll. Your proposal is excellent. I will have Konoha Hospital fully cooperate, especially in the field of psychology. Anyone who needs your help can raise the issue, including myself. 3 generations were solemn. Psychology. He had never thought of it before. Having lived a long time, he had seen 2 ninjas who were unable to exert their due to psychological problems. Kosuke is a typical example. Despite possessing the abilities of a Jonin, he was relegated to the Genin rank. This is not only a loss for Kosuke himself, but also a great loss for the village. Other examples include Kakashi, etc. Kyochi wasn't surprised. Mental illness is actually quite common among ninjas. The 3rd Hokage thought for a moment, then took out another scroll and said, this is that the Anbu dug out from the of Kuritaker Jonin. Kyochi quickly took it. After glancing at it, he said thoughtfully, Lord Hokage, it seems the Hawks in Kurigakure have gained the upper hand, and they may take further action. That's what I think too, Kyochi. I hope you can take charge of the war effort on the Eastern Front. Jing Yi was taken aback. I've only been it for less than a year, and you're putting him in charge. Will it be convincing to the public? With Nade and me here, you don't need to worry about anything else. How to adapt Chapter 82 of the Will of Fire. With me here, what are you afraid of? Anyone who dares to disobey, let them come. Nade showed no mercy. Jing Yi's qualifications are naturally efficient. But what era are we in that we're still about seniority? Konoha is facing an attack from 3 ninja. Of course, the most capable should step up. If a bunch of old and useless people are out to take charge, they will only make the battle more difficult. You'll see. Tsunade smiled and said, the old man paving the way for me, giving me more under my command. The better you do, the smoother things will go me. Kyochi is a smart person. Oh, Tsunade had no intention of hiding anything. In order to ensure the smooth implementation of Kyochi's policies, and to prevent Konoha from declining under the control of a group who wants to be Hokage. I guessed it. Jing Yi nodded slightly. Under all circumstances, with Tsunade's experience, he wouldn't need to worry about much and simply crush the opponent to win. For example, Danzo. After Tsunade took over, he immediately contracted his root tissue and did not make any further moves. The difference now is that Tsunade's homophobia hasn't gotten better yet. The third Hokage didn't ask, but he must have enough information from Sarutobi. Finding that with previous information, it's not hard to guess Tsunade's current situation. He assigned Jing Yi to the east. Though Tsunade was very unhappy, she didn't have a good solution. He had hemophobia and was destined to be able to go to the front line. Jiraiya was stationed in the north. Orochimaru, this guy probably has some dirty water on him, let's clean him up first. After much deliberation, Tsunade realized that it's Kyochi. Only Minato Namikaze was. Kyochi clearly had a better understanding of jutsu such as hidden mist technique in the release. This is also a consideration for the third. I'll think about it for a while, try my best to develop that technique. Tsunade gritted her teeth and hardened her. Kyochi will definitely be sent to the front lines. But if he can learn to create and regenerate, strength will increase significantly. Besides creation and regeneration, Kyochi actually has many areas for improvement as the system. During this period, he received some rewards, which added up to make his medical ninjutsu, water jutsu, and even genjutsu much stronger. As the Rasengan, he didn't intend to copy Naruto's wind release, Rasenshuriken. Without enough sage chakra, using Rasenshuriken would be suicidal. He had his own ideas. Pressure water jet combined with spiral. This technique is performed together with the water release sword technique. As long as the high-pressure water release technique can be achieved, the water Rasengan will not be far behind. The third one is Shikulan. The slug sage is gentle and kind. If he had met the physical requirements, the slug would have already told him, so wouldn't have needed to go looking for it. After thinking it over, Jing Yi decided to do both aspects simultaneously. Just as the Chunin exams ended, Kurenai, Shisui, and Asuma rejoined the team. It took a lot of effort to raise these 3 sheep. Didn't we take advantage of this? This moment, outside the Uchiha clan story, in a forest, Shisui sat opposite someone. Both were in a terrible state, covered in but Shisui's injuries were clearly severe. If you have the ability, why don't you step? You want to bring honor to our clan? Well, do we even need fame? Shisui sneered. Who in the ninja world doesn't know about the Uchiha clan? Our glory is something outsiders can't. Even if we win first place, it won't change how others perceive us. So you're going to pretend to be weak. Uchiha Tetsuka said with dissatisfaction. It's not called faking it. Kai's secrets are useless. Does he have a secret technique? You know about the 8 gates of the human. My teacher said that Kai has mastered the technique to open the 8 gates, which can instantly increase his combat power several times. That time, he had only opened the first. He naturally knew the 8 gates of the human body. Uchiha Tetsuka was incredulous. How could a guy who looked as comical as a kappa possess formidable fighting power? He stood there stunned for a long time. We discovered that Tetsuka had eliminated hostility. He smiled for a moment, then said, do you know our Uchiha's greatest enemy is? Of course. Tiehuo looked at the village, wanting to speak but not daring to. You know what? I was actually ordered to do this by the clan chief. You don't understand. There are factions in the village. One side is mild towards the Uchiha, while the other side wants us dead, believing that the dead Uchiha are good Uchiha. The representative of this faction is that guy Root. Shisui used his senses to confirm he hadn't been detected before speaking. I mean, the clan chief said that we should with the faction that is good to us defeat the ones that are hostile to us instead of treating the entire village as like the elders do. No matter how strong the Uchiha are, they can never be a match for the entire hidden leech. Shisui patiently and persuasively pursued, but in a moment of deception. That's quite a coincidence. Uchiha Tetsuka did that he had held back in the Chunin he came to cause trouble for him. After theoretical discussion, Shisui discovered that Tiehuo, who was 5 years older than him, was the perfect experimental subject for his own. That's how the current situation came. In fact, it's easy for a teacher to fool a child. Tiehuo was completely confused and his mind spinning. You might not understand, so let me put it. There are 3 people in front of you. 2 want to fight you, and the 3rd wants to pick up the fight. What we need to do is not to fight all 3 of you, but to win over the one who wants to break up the fight and kill the one who wants to fight us. I understand now. Taihuo suddenly realized that, and everything became clear and it makes sense. Then what should we do? Doesn't Naruto promote the will of fire? Let's learn from it. We'll repackage it, modify the will of fire, and keep the base as our opponents. Taihuo noddedly. Furthermore, treat the Kamages of small clans better, so that they can feel the goodwill of the Uchiha. Well, okay. Taihuo hesitated for a moment, but still did. Anyway, the most important thing is to kill Danzo. By eliminating him can the Uchiha clan have a place to survive. It's a pity that there aren't many people who are with the clan leader now. I think I can win over my brother, Daohuo. No rush, treat the injury first. Shisui only realized this at this point, so he can continue his deception for a moment. Uchiha Tetsuka was only 10 years and didn't think about it in detail. By Shisui, Tetsuka came to see Yuhi Kurenai for treatment. Not long after he left, he sent a shadow towards Tsunade's residence. You may not be able to find a teacher, but you're sure to find a teacher's clone here. Asking for help is the same as asking for a clone. Teacher, please help me. I want to know if there's any way to modify Will of Fire so that we Uchiha people can be. It's urgent. Chapter 83 Konoha. This is our own property. The Will of Fire that the Uchiha clan acknowledged. Ni's shadow clone paused for a moment, then entered for a few seconds before saying, that depends on who your target is. One is 10 years old, and the other is no more than 15. Shui completely forgot about it. Kyochi was only 16 years old at the time. In his mind, teachers represent omnipotence. It's simple. It doesn't need to be two. Just need to find a way to make them that the Uchiha clan and Konoha did. Without much thought, Jingyi said, for example, the Uchiha are Konoha elders. It's fine for Konoha and the Uchiha to fight for their businesses, but they can't just outsiders destroy their businesses. Can it make sense? Is there anything else? Shui nodded repeatedly, finding it to be reasonable. According to clan records, Madara Uchiha, the leader of the Uchiha clan, was a clone of Hashirama Senju and even had a chance to become Hokage. Even the elders in the clan would agree with claim. This is perfect for dealing with kids. It's expected of a teacher. Create enemies, form a united front, give everyone an outlet their anger, and find a balance to unite in the struggle. I did as you instructed beforehand, unifying the enemy. At the same time, Shisui briefly recounted his order with Tai Huo and his subsequent implementation with him. He nodded after hearing this. Shadow of the pot. In a sense, whatever problem is, he won't be held responsible for much of it. He did a great job of pulling one factor and attacking the other. He thought for a moment and said, you must to tell them that there are too many people opposing it now, so we can't make a big about it. Tell them not to tell their families. So, it's best if they can figure out the Will of Fire on their own. Yes, that makes a much better. Shui clapped his hands repeatedly. You may not agree with what others say, but no one will doubt what they have figured out. Children are the future of the Uchiha clan. It takes too long for them to grow up and things can change. So it's not advisable to be too hasty. We should win over the youngin within the clan, and then work on the bottom. We shouldn't try to take over the adults in near future. Stood. Thank you very much. Sure, I'm waiting for news on my end, I'll go now. Shisui directly dispelled his clones. He fell into deep thought. He remembered that the Uchiha kids who were 10 years old at the time all performed. For example, the one Shisui tricked, Tekka, would eventually have the strength of a 3-mo Jade. Even if he wasn't that powerful, he wouldn't get disappointment. In a few years, if we can fool these people, we will indeed have the power to overturn Uchiha's decisions. But there is a Madara Uchiha lurking in the. If Kyochi can guarantee that Obito won't get into trouble, who knows if Madara might a fire or water monster to cause. There are many Uchiha, and Obito is no exception, as many are single-minded. Choosing a target is not difficult for Ban, the easiest to fool are, of course. But there's nothing we can do about it. Madara, at his level, wants to be a thief, no one can stop him. As long as the Uchiha are pulled from them up to Konoha, Madara, in his current half-dead state, will find it difficult to cause trouble. Get it, let the main body worry about these. Continue reading. He picked up a note and continued his study. On the other end, Shisui couldn't find an Ayuhi, but he found Rin Nohara and asked with the treatment. After some struggle, the two recovered from injuries and returned to the vicinity of their clan's territory. Have you thought of a solution? I have some ideas, but I don't quite them. How about we discuss them first? As Shisui spoke, she recounted the process for the Kyochi school. The core of the Will of Fire lies in the village and protecting their. This doesn't seem to conflict with the of the Uchiha clan. Also, our ancestors were one of the founders of Konoha, so we are the guards. Village is our property, and the common and small families are our partners. Isn't it our duty to protect our partners? It makes some sense, but they don't recognize us. Uchiha Tetsuka was stunned after hearing this. He felt, that makes so much sense. Ordinary people and small families do see them as partners. But we need to clear up the misunderstanding. Let the common people and small clans know that we Uchiha are not what they think. That makes sense. The words were very clear, even with Tiehuo's limited thinking, he was able to understand the whole story. You can't become Hokage by force. Well, that's what the clan leader said. On seeing the iron fire, Shisui instantly, and his mind became more at ease. The way to fight is to be at odds with the Konoha ninjas. You can't rely on force at all. Tiehuo nodded repeatedly. Naruto, yes, isn't the picture of the Uchiha clan. The elders, thinking was too simplistic. Even their ancestor, Ban, who was so powerful, to succeed, let alone them. We cannot repeat the old mistakes. The clan leader is wise. He understood. Words, Tiehu felt somewhat ashamed. Shisui was only 5 years old when he saw things clearly, and before, he thought Shisui contribute to the family. He knelt down with a thud. Shisui, I understood you. I'm so sorry. We're all partners. Why are you sorry? My suggestion for your brother is this. Gradually reveal these thoughts in your daily. Okay, I'll find you some relevant booker. You can take them and ask your questions from time to time. Over time, he'll naturally understand. After thinking about it, Shisui felt that relying on Tiehuo's simple talk might not. Guy is a bit tongue-tied. It's better to in more detail. On Kyochi's side, open black lens bracket complete the ideological development, instruction close black lens bracket, black lens bracket rating, excellence black lens bracket, black lens bracket reward, illusion, full close black lens bracket. Where did this reward come from? The shadows hadn't dissipated, so he was completely bewildered and didn't understand the situation. The reward, however, made Kyochi verified. Foam. In the Naruto anime, this genjutsu can be aided simply by moving a finger or by nose. It can also be activated with the Sharingan. Though its power is not strong, its quality is extremely impressive. He had been eyeing it for a long time and originally planned to study fingerprint illusion magic, but she hadn't had time. Now it's a saving. With it, even in low light, you can still practice swordsmanship. The only problem is, illusions are in effect situations where nothing can be seen, such as in the fog or at night. All I can say is, No one understood the Uchiha better than Tobirama Senju. Kyochi was unaware that after Shisui returned, he used a lot of persuasive tricks to convince Tetsuka. The two were figuring out how to fool Huo. This represents the unity of knowledge, and there's still some time for Shisui to make. A few days, Kyochi will probably have to take them to the eastern part of the land fire to guard against the hidden mist ninjas. It's not just the hidden mist villages, there might also be hidden clouds from the northeast. Pressure is immense, certainly. He wasn't the only one under pressure. Hiruzen Sarutobi was too, since sending Kyochi to lead the eastern front operations was quite risky by some. After 84 Hiruzen, you'll regret it. Hiruzen, letting a 16-year-old Jonin take charge of the eastern front is a very impulsive decision. You were too rash with the previous forbidden in this appointment, you didn't help with us at all. The two consultants arrived again. Hiruzen Sarutobi's head was split open, but he imagined that the biggest obstacle his attempt to change things would not come Danzo, but from his two old buddies many years. He hesitated for a moment, then finally sighed and said, if we don't let him go, who among us is willing to go to the front lines to end the battle? Mitomen hesitated. After a moment's hesitation, Xiaochun, who was switching rooms, finally said, it's not impossible. 7 ninja swordsmen are no pushovers. Quote. That's what I meant. Just say you don't believe it. Haru's lips twitched, but she didn't refute third-generation statement. 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist are formidable opponents. In their youth, no one would dare claim to be able to defeat them, although they're not obligated to fight, they will certainly step in at crucial moments. I started having Kyochi study the fogman technique a few months ago, and be effective recently. He can use the fog to cast illusions, make it impossible for the other party to find his own. Or, he is a master swordsman, and the ninja swordsman of the mist will not be able to gain the upper hand. Then did the third generation explain. Haru Udatane and Homura Mitokado were the third Hokages, if you can do, then you do it, was very effective. Having been away from the battlefield for so, neither of them dared to go. It wasn't that they were afraid of dying, but that the lives of tens of thousands of ninjas were too important. They subconsciously dare not bear the burden. Hiruzen, we understand that you want to change things and make Konoha stronger, but if you're too radical, you'll regret it. Mitokado's words are all powerless. It seems familiar. He didn't delve into details of the 3 generations, he just felt tired. His 2 old friends didn't understand his and Jingyi's thoughts at all, and their opposition somewhat of a matter of opposing for the sake of opposing. They're all outdated people. He lost his, waved for the 2 advisors to leave, his seat in silence for a long time. There's one thing that 3 generations say. Both Kyochi and Tsunade have slugs, and they can communicate through slugs. Or, having Kyochi in command is indirectly having Tsunade in command. The reasons behind this cannot be in detail. In addition, before the war even began, Jiraiya sent intelligence that the villages of Kumogakure in the north were very restless. The 2 villages were very restrained, there was no friction between them. It doesn't make sense. He had reason to. It is very likely that the 2 countries will have some kind of tacit understanding. Combined with Kurigakure to the east, Konoha's situation is very dangerous. This critical juncture, we should boldly vote capable and courageous newcomers, just like the second Hokage did back then. As for now, this old guy can still move. If all else fails, I can do it myself. Anyway, there are successors. Third generation had a plan in mind and they made up their minds. The plan remains unchanged. Young people needs, but there isn't much time for them to grow right now. We can only hope that Jingyi can withstand the pressure and grow quickly. He was under immense pressure, but Jingyi didn't think too much about it. Managing a large group of people is indeed difficult. But, Kyochi has his own. He is very clear about the situation in Hidden Mist Village dared not go all in. The top combat force they dispatched was only 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist. So strong, they are not to be feared. Dawnlight Gale has been discharged from the battle. At the same time, Kyochi's new blade also arrived. A ninja sword that isn't very long. Its greatest advantage is that it facilitates execution of sword techniques and variable swordplay. Though the amplification of each type of chakra is not as powerful as that of Kakashi's or Asuma's chakra weapon, strength lies in its comprehensiveness. Kyochi was very satisfied. He had originally planned to go to the front lines recently, but another matter forced them to postpone plans. Forbidden techniques unlocked. With warming, the third Hokage had little time to immediately decided to implement the of opening up forbidden technique Tsunade and Kyochi's plan. A Jonin from Konoha was secreted into a base. Hokage, hundreds of ninjas. The lowest here are all special Jonin, many of whom are clan ninjas. They can be considered the elite of Konoha's existing ninjas. The main reason I called you all here today is to explain 2 techniques. The third generation was very straightforward. Immediately afterwards, he hung up the 2 ninjutsu scrolls and opened them vertically. One looked over at the same time. A moment later, Lord Hokage, isn't this a bit? Yamanaka Inoichi was very surprised. The first scroll describes how to open the first and second gates of the 8 gates, while the second scroll describes enhanced cell activity and improve and speed through breathing. This is a forbidden technique. The third generation wanted to popularize in techniques, but he hadn't received information about it at all. Let's hear what the Hokage has to say first. Haku spoke. He was naturally aware of the story, so he did not oppose the plan. This plan is perfect. There's absolutely no reason to oppose it. As you all know, the situation is very bad. 3 major ninja villages want to attack, and war is imminent. These 2 techniques are forbidden. The purpose of promoting them is not to urge everyone to abuse them, but to help missions and battles on the battlefield. Konoha can't afford too many losses. Of course, all of this is voluntary. Those who don't want to learn or those who learn forbidden techniques must go to the hospital for free checkups every now and then. The third generation spoke with a heavy tone. Jonin requires a lot of time to train. Losing even one would be a devastation for Konoha, which is another reason why he made the decision so quickly. Jonin fell silent. What the 3 Shin said was true. In Konoha's wars, Jonin and Genin were not sent to be cannoneer and charge into battle. Instead, Jonin bore a large part of their, so Jonin losses were significant in war. If they learn these 2 forbidden techniques, their survival rate will indeed increase. In comparison, many side effects are so minor to be negligible. The most important thing is to stay alive. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to. Kyochi noticed that the first to speak was Kuno, a Jonin who came from a common urban. He rose through the ranks from a low rank, specializing in the manipulation of weapons and traps. Kuno was very clear-headed. Ninjas have various skills, and even without these two techniques, their chances of on the battlefield are still very, but it's different for ordinary people. Forbidden techniques for saving one's life. He had to consider whether this was the only he could have in his life. In the end, basically, all ninjas voluntarily forbidden techniques. Having many skills is never a bad thing. Learn it first, then consider whether or not use it. Very good. From now on, Kanda Kyochi will teach you the breathing activation technique. After the 3 generations finished speaking, he vacated the middle position. Kyochi went up to him. He knew that this was the groundwork laid by generations for his future command. Now that we've taught them, they'll become in the future, and these people inevitably owe us a debt of gratitude. Chapter 85 Konoha Dragon God, Teacher Chen. Go up there. He pointed to the left and right. The 8 gates formation and the breathing utilization technique each have their advantages and disadvantages. Let me briefly explain. The 8 gate formation is more difficult. And the first 2 gates are not something one can learn. It requires you to constantly challenge your limits. Jing Yi finished speaking. He paused for a moment to give everyone ample time to. John and all looked at Might Guy. Might Guy was recently promoted to specialman, and everyone has witnessed this new Jonin. He undergoes extreme every day and shouts shameful slogan be described as performance art. When Kyo mentioned the need to challenge limits, and the signature below the 8s was Might Die, they immediately did it with Day's various bizarre. Instantly felt a chill run down there that the only way to master the 8 gate. Ahem, everyone, please don't understand. There are many ways to challenge limits. What I've mentioned are just some of my own preferences, not standards. Might Day knew those expressions all too well. He stepped forward to explain. Mr. Dai, are there any other methods? Kuno immediately asked. I graduated the amount of exercise, persistive time, and eventually I was able to open the door naturally, so. Day was a little embarrassed. This is the truth, too. The many Jonin remained silent. As I asked, it opened up. Simple and brutal. But it's obviously impossible to learn in a short time using such a clumsy method. Everyone's attention shifted from Might Guy to Kyochi, as they had heard of Kyochi's. Putting aside everything else, Kyochi's educational ideas during this period throughout Konoha. Anyone with children about these measures and their ends. This moment, in Kyoto's eyes, they were no different from the children he used to at the Ninja Academy. Of course there are other ways, but these are all abnormal, such as, climb one hand without the aid of chakra. Kyochi said, that's exactly what Kakashi did. Without using chakra, he climbed the rock with hand using only his physical strength, judging his own limits, and finally did in opening the first door. As for the second door of rest, with the door, this passage becomes easier to open. One-handed rock climbing. Upon hearing the words, Tekuno could immediately imagine how difficult it would be. No wonder it could open the door. One fell silent again. This is only the first door. The human body has 8 gates. How abnormal is a person who can open all gates? I heard, this Mad Day has the ability to open all 8 gates. They looked at Mad Day, their eyes now filled with reverence and admiration. There are many strong individuals, but there are very few ninjas in the entire world who can become this level simply through hard work and struggle, and Might Guy deserves their respect. So, shall we now discuss respiration techniques? Okay, John and Kyochi, let's talk about breathing activation technique instead. I think it's easier and more suitable for arts of ninjutsu. As soon as Kyochi finished speaking, a bunch of Jonin immediately chimed in, some thinking. The 8 gates formation is so difficult, what about the breathing activation technique? Will it be simple, or harder? They had heard Kanda Kyochi occasionally had some quirks, and perhaps this time was no exception. Soon, everyone put aside their doubts. Kyochi explained it to them. They heard that although the breathing technique was difficult, it was much easier to learn than the 8 gates technique. The challenge lies in achieving a balance, ensuring even improvement through the entire body. It's not that cells in one area are extreme while others are not at all. This requires extremely strong chakra control, which is also the threshold condition that Kyochi has always wanted to lower. After much research, the fortity was almost completed, but the lower the threshold could not be met, so it had to give up. What the Jonin are seeing now is the finding oxygen to enhance cell activity is easier than the 8 gates formation. Tsunade began, however, the correspondence is also greater. Sitting and resting the 8 gates only cause damage to the body and have little impact, while the breathing activity will reduce lifespan. Survival is the most important thing. Someone said, reducing the number of usings a little less lifespan is nothing. Besides. With that, he bowed deeply, his voice full of Shangren, I have a request for you. If my disciple can master the 8 gate nation, could you teach him the complete? Kyochi didn't recognize him at first because the person's appearance was so different from one in the anime that it was almost a completely different person. When he heard Dai address him, he remembered. Dear Chen, please don't do that. I didn't intend to hide the 8 gate nation. It's just that this technique is very harmful to oneself and has a very high threshold, so I only release the open and rest gates. Day quickly helped him up, then explained. That martial arts master in the anime. He suddenly remembered, my disciple only was taijutsu, not ninjutsu or genjutsu. One thought he couldn't be a ninja, but still became one. It made me believe that even if you only know jutsu, you can still become a qualifier. I want to give him a broader path. Here Chen began to talk about his students. In terms of physical skills, Chen is strong Might Guy and Might Guy now. Once the 8 gates are opened, they are not on the same level anymore. In reality, during the Third Shinobi World War, his disciples died because they did not know ninjutsu or genjutsu, and Chen himself became depressed and faked death to retire. He remained silent. This is a respectable martial arts master. He looked at Might Guy and the third Hokage, but not interfere, because Chen was not asking the forbidden technique for himself, but his disciple. They are different in nature. I can exchange my martial arts techniques for. He suddenly thought of his physical skills. This is all he can offer in exchange. You demonstrate. The third generation said, he wasn't after skills, but rather he couldn't set precedent by giving away forbidden for free. Everyone would come knocking for out of some unspeakable difficulty. The so-called forbidden techniques would be nothing but nonsense. Here Chen, let me be your opponent. By the way, I'll also demonstrate the use of breathing activation technique and resting gate techniques. He got off at Kyoto Station. In terms of pure physical skills, Might Guy is stronger than him. When it comes to how to coordinate with highlight the opponent, Matt Damon is not as good at acting as he is. Hey, I'll hold back. No need, Senior Chen, you can go all out. Don't worry about hurting him. Tsunade smiled. The others smiled knowingly. Kyoshi himself is a medical expert. With Tsunade, a medical ninja renowned about the ninja world, there shouldn't be any major problems as long as they don't. Chen bowed gratefully after hearing this, and formed the seal of opposition. The next moment, he launched an attack state. Kyoshi didn't draw his sword. Instead, he used hand-to-hand combat. Just as Chen was about to attack him, he dodged with a remarkable shrewdness, but had no time to retaliate. He wasn't acting. There really wasn't a chance. Chen is too fast. So fast. A high-ranking ninja exclaimed in surprise. Chen's speed was such that they couldn't dodge without using the body flicker technique, the substitution technique, but Kyoshi did it using his physical speed and because of this alone, no one dares to estimate Kanda Kyoshi anymore. This kid is a Jonin, no doubt about it. Chapter 86, Jing 1, Master and Disciple, Veteran Actors. Kyoshi, I'm not going to hold back this time. Please give it your all. Before Jing could finish speaking, a darker appeared before him. Wow, so fast, he opened the door instantly. Next moment, bang, with one kick, Chen Baojun was sent flying. Jing Yi knew very well that his opponent deflected the force by stepping back, that the kick had not caused any damage. This is the door. The improvement is indeed. Baojun was very excited. His martial skills were extremely high, so he had what had happened Kyoshi. Proved physical functions such as strength, speed, increased control. The combined of the two is, whoosh, Kyoshi was in front of him. This time, it was Chen Baojun who was asked to fight back. So fast I didn't dare blink. Because in the blink of an eye, you could be attacked. And during the process, Kyoshi also had many physical techniques that can in a conventional way. Is this what opening the door means? All the Jonin were shocked. The effect is amazing, but they noticed that Kyoshi's chakra surged momentarily after. Combining it with ninjutsu would probably not be very effective. Jonin thought to themselves. This is opening a door combined with the instantaneous movement technique. Beijing Tianjin Hebei region was reopened. A series of attacks had greatly depleted his. Surprisingly, Chen had defended again all. Though it was very strenuous, he had only hit by 3 kicks and had not suffered major damage. It's my turn. Baojun took a deep breath, and then, whoosh, the figure gradually disappeared from spot. Respiratory activation, and the wind rises. A tornado beside Kyoshi, sweeping in all. Jing Yi's speed remained extremely fast. He dodged, changed positions, and then formed seals, completing the seals in the blink of an eye. His hand speed was unbelievably fast. Earth Wangquan Marsh, a massive mud plateau. In an instant, the tornado formed into a dragon and flew out. Flow wall, water array wall. A series of strong defenses were quickly formed, only to be torn apart by the tornado. Chen's attack had also reached its two separated and did not continue. Their third Hokage and Tsunade stood by, smiling without saying a word. Many Jonin don't understand Kyoshi, but they knew that Kyoshi's strength, even if he only used physical skills, it wouldn't be low. Skills of still water movement and act were all learned from the teacher. He just used breathing activation technique and taijutsu, Leaf Dragon God. Baojun closed his eyes and said after a moment, this technique enhances cell activity rather than depleting the body's strength, so you won't experience the fatigue of the 8 gates after using it. As expected of a senior, using the 8 gate cause intense fatigue, which is why you need to learn the rest gate. The rest gate can further stimulate the body and allow your stamina to recover quickly. Day greatly admires him. Over the years, Chen Baojun has developed physical techniques that can be relying on the 8 gates. He greatly admired such perseverance. I just used the rest gate to recover my, and then I used the breathing technique. As you can see, opening the gate can enhance control over the body, which is suited to body binding techniques, while the breathing activation technique can intensively improve functions. Breathing activation techniques are moral, especially for those of us who are ninjutsu. Learning breathing activations is even better. Nara Shikaku said, most ninjas don't rely only on taijutsu, physical techniques. People rely more on taijutsu, physics, so breathing techniques are easy to popularize, while the 8 gates are suitable for ninjas who are good at taijutsu. That's right, I suggest that those who are good at physical combat learn both, while those who are not good at physical combat only to learn the breathing technique. That's roughly it. For Kyoshi's summary, the Jonin were no longer confused. Solution is now clear. Old Chen looked at the third generation longing eyes, his meaning self-evident. Who could stand that expression on someone in 40s? The third Hokage said helplessly, you can use your taijutsu for the 8 gate nation with Dai. You can discuss the specific conditions. Thank you, Lord Hokage. Baojun and Mad Dai went to the side to very few ninjas can reach the threshold of the 8 gates formation. This was within Kyoto's expectations. The 8 gates were not created for ordinary. Only ruthless individuals like Might Dai could open them. Kakashi's taijutsu was quite strong, but he could only reach the rest gate. Kyoshi himself was the same. 3 doors were opened, but it became very difficult to go any further. During this time, he never forgot to train his whole body, but he only managed to catch a glimpse of the 4th gate. Breathing activation techniques are simple. Jonin have a considerable amount of reading a ninjutsu scroll, they can really learn it on their own. Baojun, for example, mastered it after reading it. Or, there is no need for Kyoshi to teach in detail. I just need to share some tips. Or, Jingyi doesn't think this wave of will be very high. Black lens bracket complete the and demonstration of the 4-bit black lens bracket. Black lens bracket rating. Good close lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Chakra absorption technique close lens bracket. Kyoshi never expected it to be this technique. It is the secret technique of the red copper. Although it can absorb physical and energy, it can only absorb it by other person with its palm and can of chakra that has been transformed into ninjutsu. It's not that it's useless, it's just that It's rather useless. This thing happens to be a secret and quite rare item, so you can't really say the reward. He thought about it and realized that it isn't entirely useless. If the conversion rate is high enough and it can be used in conjunction with other parts of the body, it might be able to play a good role on the battlefield when combined with its and the slug technique. He'll look into it again later. He closed the system panel and turned his chin back to what was in front of him. One is practicing. Li Chen Baojun and Dai were discussing arts like crazy, completely different. This Dragon God move has absolutely no flaws. Skills are performed by people. No matter how strong a tornado is, if it hits a person, it will stop them. That's the opening. There's wind all around me. How could it hit me? Baojun was somewhat unconvinced. They couldn't explain it either. He lacked theoretical knowledge and at this he could only sense that there was flaw, but he couldn't put it into words. On hearing this, Jing couldn't resist coming to join in the fun. The technique simulates a tornado, but there's no wind in the eye of a tornado, and that's the flaw. Yoshi said, in the anime, Li used this to break the dragon god's defense his outer lotus flower. After hearing this, Chen Baojun was stunned for a long time. He wanted to be stubborn, but couldn't find a reason to refute it. He opened his mouth, then was surprised. You figured it out. I didn't at first, but I could tell after you looked through 2 of my defensive ninjutsu. Quote. Old Chen fell silent. He could. If Jingyi had figured it out, could he not have a way to solve it? He didn't break it just to save face for him. Don't overthink it. This technique is indeed. Its flaws are not insurmountable, and once you know about them, they may have an advantage. Yoshi said, how so? His concern leads to Might Guy scratched his head and said, it's not difficult, is it? He comes from the eye of the storm, we can attack him directly. Right. This is one way, and another way, adjust wind direction. Questions often have very simple and forward answers. Dragon God's move is just like that. So, in the end, it becomes a battle of speed, whoever is faster wins. If Chen Baojun could master the 8-gation, few could rival him in speed, but he's physically strong, but he's over 40 after his age, his body is starting to decline, and it's already quite an achievement for him to maintain his physical functions. He has already missed the best opportunity. Even if he could learn the 8-gation, his current body might not be able to damage caused by opening the 8-gate the human body. He thought for a moment and then added a few more words on this point. Chen, even if you can master the 8's formation, you should never open several at once. It is best to open them one by one, so as to reduce the damage caused by opening all. There's such a saying. Chen Baojun was taken back. If Jingyi hadn't reminded him, he really would have gone back to challenge his limit and attempted to advance 2 or 3 level in one go. He said something instinctively, then realized he had said something stupid. Jonin doesn't know about Kyochi's skills. With her slug abilities, jutsu, and strong combat skills, she's a carbon copy of Tsunade. Whether we live or die depends entirely on him. He's our father on the battlefield. He's a professional, you can't fool him. I'm so sorry. Chen Baojun quickly bowed and eyed. There's no need for that. I was just reminding you that this situation, but you won't have this problem if you don't study more than 3 subjects. After hearing Jingyi's explanation, everybody relaxed. Besides Chen Baojun, there are still some ninjas who want to learn the opening gate closing gate techniques, since they are techniques for survival and mating power. Moreover, since they are all Jonin, it's not to see one thing. If your physical fitness meets the requirements, you can use the 8 gates endlessly. It's never a bad thing to learn more. Jingyi's surprise, he casually mentioned, Leaf Sudden Wind, martial art technique Chen Baojun. This was an unexpected surprise. Chapter 87 Tsunade. I'm not gambling this time. Teaching patience doesn't take much time, one is smart. We met in the morning and dispersed at noon. Yoshi was having dinner with Tsunade. During Tsunade discussed the profound meaning behind the third Hokage's words with him. To promote and establish authority. Every step is a preparation for the Jingyi army's march to the Eastern Front. Ninjas who went to the Eastern Front are the group that will benefit today. Jingyi wholeheartedly agreed. Tsunade, being a girl, knew the ins and outs of the game well. Many days later, he did receive the list. These people were the Jonin team that went to the Eastern Front before him. Most of them were Jonin who benefited that. On this day, Kyochi also had to set off to out a patrol mission in the east of the Land of Fire. It wasn't Kurigakure that started on the contrary, the Hidden Cloud Village, on the other hand, made some moves first. On the borders of the Land of Lightning, the ninja are becoming increasingly active. Traces of Cloud Ninja and Iwa Ninja haven't been found in the Land of Fire. At the same time, there is also intelligence in the Anbu and Iwagakure that many Iwagakure ninjas are active on the border, and they seem to fight across the border. This is a bad sign. Nura may have reached a tacit understanding. Night. Kyochi talked to Asuma and the others about the mission tomorrow. When he got home, it was already dusk. He was wondering whether to go out for dinner. When he opened the door, he smelled a aroma of food. He paused for a moment. Looking to the side, I saw Tsunade and Shizune around a table with a pile of food in it. Come home, come and have dinner. Tsunade's smile was gentle. Tsunade nay, did you make this? Kyochi found it hard to believe. Food on the table wasn't fancy, but it's delicious. It wasn't some kind of ordinary disaster. Tsunade's cooking skill really that amazing? It can't be right. He remembered that Naoki almost died after eating Tsunade's food. But you don't believe me. I can tell at a glance that Shizune made this really good, but Tsunade nay must have been very patient to wait this long. You're so talkative. Tsunade's face was stiff, and her expression was very sour. Mute laughed out loud. She said that Tsunade didn't hide it from Kyochi, but Tsunade 3 of them picked up their chopsticks. I'm starting. At this moment, the room under lamplight seemed somewhat cozy. Next day, I'm leaving, no need to see me. Just going to the battlefield, who would you there? Lost. Tsunade gave a cold laugh. As soon as Jingyi stepped out the door, he leaned against the doorframe, looking with a worried and wistful expression. I'm not gambling this time. You must come back, she murmured to herself, so softly that no one could hear her, and didn't speak, but she knew that Tsunade must be very worried about it at this moment. Just like the 2 before them. Starting today, I will train you as hard. If you dare to slack off. HMPH. Shizune was surprised, then saw Tsunade return to the room, take out her notebook, and have a stack of books next to her. They were all medical books. Some of them were for Tsunade herself, while the other stack was pushed to Shizune's side. Books, and ask questions if you don't. Tsunade finished speaking. She buried herself in her book. She needed to develop a healing technique without using the original as soon as possible. This time, at the village entrance, Jingyi already gathered with Shisui and the others. What is our task this time? Asuma asked curiously. Beside them, Kurenai and Shisui weren't paying attention to the mission itself. Their thoughts were elsewhere. Kurenai Yuhi is studying medical ninjutsu. As stopping the water. Right now, all he can think about is how to fool his people. Kyochi's strategy was very successful. In the past few days, Shisui has joined Force Tetsuka to slowly influence Inahashi. It was Inahashi who figured it out little from the book. Definitely, at this critical juncture, they have to go out on a mission. I wonder if Iron Fire will work. He sighed, feeling a little worried, but he had to bring his thoughts back to the present, to hear the shocking news. Go to the Eastern Front. War about to break out. Three of them instantly became extreme. War has broken out, and, were they the first? Three were both scared and excited. I guess so. As for when we'll fight, it depends on Kurigaku's actions, or, it depends. Are you the commander? Shisui's eyes widened. In the past few days, in order to deceive his clansmen, he has been reading books unrelated to ninjutsu. Though he doesn't understand much of it, he's still more perceptive than Asuma and represents many factors. Could it be the teacher could become Hokage? He became excited. If the teacher becomes Hokage, then the last thing the Uchiha worried about can be solved. Once the teacher takes over, his attitudes the Uchiha will definitely be, but don't overthink it. It's just command. Besides, I still need to discuss things with Tsunade. It's not a one-man show. He smiled. He was mainly speaking to Zishu. The conversation between Shisui and his shadow clone was synchronized to Kyochi's side after shadow clone ended, so Kyochi knew what Shisui had been doing during that time. He's been growing up quickly lately, but his is also prone to going astray and being lost in misconceptions, thinking too much about unrelated things. Shisui understood and nodded slightly. Hey Tsunade, this one should be good too. We can investigate this when we get back. In short, it's definitely beneficial for the Uchiha clan. That's amazing. My teacher is only 7 years older than me, and is already a commander on the Eastern. Asuma felt genuine envy and admiration. And you noticed, lately, it's all been about teachers. They're obviously planning something big. That's what Kurenai Yuhi said. She frequented the hospital, and whenever she up, she could see Jingyi's name on the bulletin board, so conspicuous it can be more obvious. In addition, her father had recently mentioned teacher's condition. She vaguely understood that there must be a new appointment for the teacher. We're going on a mission today. Being a Chunin really makes a difference. Her intelligence gathering and analysis have improved a lot. Good job, keep it up. Kyochi touched Kurenai's hair. It's very smooth. It feels amazing. Teacher, you are making fun of me. Kurenai Yuhi didn't feel particularly proud of being a Chunin. Whether it's strength or all ability, I'm not as good as Shisui. The Chunin spot clearly belongs to him. He spoke out in defense of Shisui. In the second exam, Shisui played a much more significant role than her, though most of it was done in secret and no one knew it. At least that's what she thinks. Ha ha ha. Jing smiled but did not answer. Shisui explained, don't overthink it. You've the required strength. You earned this Chunin spot yourself. As for me, I asked for it. I didn't want to be to Chunin so early. Asuma was surprised. He had also spoken out the injustice, feeling that the man was definitely biased and suppressing Uchiha. Result, I really didn't expect that Shisui would ask for it on his own initiative. Kurenai Yuhi was stunned. I can't say, but it was definitely my own request. I even discussed it with my teacher, and she agreed with my idea. Shisui did not elaborate on the reason. It's not a lack of trust. This is an internal matter for the Uchiha clan. It's not good for Kurenai Yuhi and Asuma to get involved. We should avoid implicating them because of the Uchiha clan. As for teachers, Shisui counted and felt that wasn't a single person in his clan who could harm his teacher. Uchiha, they really can't produce a top-tier genius. Shisui used to be very proud, but after going and seeing the world, he realized that geniuses out there, and that his clan had nothing to be proud of except for their past. After 88 water transformations separate them, Kurenai and Asuma didn't ask any more, and the four-person team heads towards the line of fire. On the way, Kyochi discovered traces of ninjas. It's very shallow, thing that goes by leaves a trace. Ninjas are meticulous in their actions, some minor details can still give them, such as leaves crushed by footsteps while hurrying on the road. Was this left behind by Kurigaku? It's not clear yet, we need to observe further. Let's continue walking this way and see. Kyochi did not immediately draw a conclusion. This might have been left by one of our own. Continued their pursuit. On the way, Shisui, Asuma, and Kurenai were 100% focused, only observing their surroundings for any signs of trouble. It has to be said, having gone through the Battle Royale version of the test, the three of them have improved their abilities and their tacit understanding has been stronger. While conducting reconnaissance along the way, they also remain alert and well-positioned, ready to assist each other at any time. Along the way, they also found few traces remained on the branch, chasing after them. Short while later, teacher, we've tracked them down, but it seems like they're one of our own. Kurenai Yuhi sensed might guy. Go after them and ask. He nodded. He felt it wasn't that simple. The other party might have also been tracked. We've reached the front. In the woods, with a whoosh, a green shadow flew out. With a loud thud, Might Guy was kicked by Kyochi. I was kicked and only then did he come to senses. Kyochi-sensei, I couldn't see him from behind a tree. I thought he was an enemy. Kai scratched his head. Having been subjected to Might Guy's educate love for years, Kyochi's kick caused no damage at all. He simply dusted himself off, got up. After getting up, he looked at the other three with a slightly confused expression. He recognized them, but I can't remember the name. Did you come here to search, or were you trolling in this direction from the start? Kyochi didn't give him a chance to say hello. He knew that Kai wouldn't need it. Jingyi, we came here by searching for his, but after we got here, the other party did up very well, so we can't keep it. After Mad Kai finished speaking, the sound of falling branches came from the forest. Short while later, Shirakumo, Ebisu, and Shiranui appeared. Seeing this scene, Baiyun sighed and rubbed his head in the morning. He guessed what was going on. Next time you need to be more careful before you go in, otherwise what if you hurt your own troops when you become stronger? Ah, looks like this isn't the first time. Yoshi couldn't help but chuckle. In this case, Might Guy only remembered Kisame Shigaki at the end, which infuriated Kisame. When he had Obito for the second time in the Chunin exams, he again didn't remember who. All I can say is, this skill comes from a good and hard work. There's nothing to envy. Yes, I will next time. Kai scratched his head. Shui and the others chuckled to themselves. Kai, despite being promoted to Chunin, she's still so unreliable. Compared to her, Kurenai Yuhi seems much more Chunin. Senior, please tell me about what you. He coughed lightly. It's not a big deal. Oh, my guy is a bit eccentric. He's real most of the time, so we don't need to worry too much about the minor. Dion explained his situation to him early morning. He tracked them down from the other side. But what's the same as that the clues on sides go cold here. The other party was very cautious in this area. There's reason to believe that this is where Hidden Mist Ninja gathered and left, so he handled it exceptionally well, leaving no notes at all. Dion used to be a member of the Secrets and often handled these kinds of things outside, so he was very familiar with the process. If we wait here, will they continue to embark here? He thought for a moment and then asked, he really doesn't understand. If you don't understand, just ask. It's no big deal. Dion shook his head in the morning and said, generally speaking, assassination squad into the places they infiltrate and move to avoid being caught in a pattern and pushed. Staying here won't yield any results. What a pity. He frowned slightly and used his chakra to sense his surroundings again. Just like before, there were only the two. He could not sense any other presences. Chakra sensing techniques are not always. Hidden Mist ninjas hide underwater until their chakra, making them very detect using sensory methods, not to mention that the Hidden Mist village also has cunning Hazuka clan. This clan's water transformation technique is not a bloodline limit, but it surpasses bloodlines. Once the body is transformed, it cannot be sensed at all, and it is extremely difficult to find. He frowned, at a loss for what to do. He looked at it. The 2 teams of 8 people and even muster a single light. I should have borrowed Kakashi. But the thought only flashed through my mind. Kakashi is probably still reeling from what he did during the Chunin exams, and he's going through a rebellious phase. If you talk to him, you'll either get the treatment or he'll say something sarcastic. Let's forget about it. To deal with the Hazukan, you don't necessarily need to use release ninjas, and he happened to have Thor's sword. Not to mention, there are also Seal. Pondered for a moment and said, let's look first to see if we've missed anything. We can discuss it in a meeting later. Baiyun's attitude was very proper. This thing from the Dark Division, he naturally firmly on the 3rd Hokage's side. Once the 3rd Hokage said that Kyoshi was commander, he treated Kyoshi as living in a strict and respectful manner. 2 teams spread out to search, but at Jinyi's instruction, they did not stray too far from each other. Baiyun was among them in the morning, ready to rush to their aid at any time. As for Kyoshi, he came alone, and this time Kyoshi didn't wear his ninja vest. Instead, he was dressed in casual clothes, being no different from an ordinary Chunin genin. When he first left the team, he even wore and with his silver hair, he looked like a giant version of Kakashi. Baiyun glanced at it in the morning and really understood what Jinyi was planning to do. Although the chances are slim, it's good to try. Kyoshi thought so too. It's all the same whether it works or not. He didn't forget to put on an act, really positioning himself relative to everyone, but gradually drifting away from the team and closer to the river. Hidden Mist ninja liked to hide in the fishing. Kyoshi activated his full awareness, constantly monitoring the situations around him. He walked along the river for a long time. A subtle ripple came from the river, most imperceptible, but Kyoshi's master water-style techniques, coupled with his full senses, allowed him to instant this slight fluctuation. There was no one around. Ghost Lantern Clan, without hesitation, he formed hand seals, and the next escape earth flow wall. 2 walls rode both ends of the river, temporarily the water flow. His hands almost became phantoms, forming a series of hand seals in an instant after the earthen walls appeared. Flow wall, divided by 2 earthen walls, a section of the river rises up, hitting the riverbed and the surround, separating it from the water on boats. Oh my god, when Matt Kai saw this from afar, he was completely dumbfounded. This is earth escape technique. It's way too much. Chapter 89 Sealing, capturing Hazuka Zero alive. What are you standing there for? Go and provide support. Zuma ran a short distance and saw the kid there, so he quickly called out for her. Kai then came to his senses. Jinyi placed his hand on the soil, sensed situation in this section. His eyes narrowed, and chakra flowed from his palm, dissolving into the soil and outwards, hardening the entire bed in the form of earth spears. This is one of the uses he developed. Not very cool, but it's perfect for the moment. He had just sensed that the other party seemed to be trying to crawl away from the bottom of a splash of water. Jinyi formed handles again, and a black rain fell, soaking the wind release. Yes, Shisui arrived, and the hand seals were completed on the wall and in the air. Next moment, a huge fireball burst forth from his mouth. Zuma couldn't make it in time. Baiyun arrived early in the morning, a hand seal, and unleashed a major gale force winds, raging flames, and black oil. Top of the earthen city wall was engulfed in a sea of fire. The raging flame, even water could not keep them out. The river water evaporated, and steam rose in flows. Is this kid trying to evaporate all water? Where did this pervert come from? Zuka Chikage cursed inwardly. He quickly used a release ninjutsu. As the water level rose, the sing earthen walls also rose, giving temporary protection. The black oil and flames floating on the water made the pool extremely hot. This can't go on. He could no longer hide and doubt, fleeing in an uninhabited direction, his body still ablaze with intense flames. Some of the black oil adhered to him and could not be extinguished even by water. Flicker technique. It's very fast. No wonder he dared to stay here. He gave a cold laugh. I'm faster. Open the door. The next, he drew his sword and transformed into sword. Moon Shadow. In addition, there is the art of drawing as 2 combine into 1. The sword, dodge, and slash. Completed in one go. Wow. So fast, there's no way to avoid it. Light Chikage's mind went blank. Brat, how could it be this fast? The only thing he could think of was the wateration technique. Just as he was casting the wateration technique and his body was not fully transformed into water, the sword his arm. Next second, rolling lightning spread from sword, instantly paralyzing him and making him unable to move. His body, which was half liquidized, froze in grotesque. This time, in the distance, a large wave in along the river. This isn't a wave, it's bursting water surge. Surging waves crash in, and once Hazuka Chikage falls into the waves, even the 5K won't be able to catch her again. Kyochi didn't speak. He pressed his sword to Hazuka Chikage to prevent him from running again, then grabbed him with one and ran away from the water. Throughout the process, he kept using the chakra absorption technique. Damn it, help me, this guy is absorbing my. Deng Qianjing was anxious. Though the water transformation technique consumes very little chakra, it's not without costs. If Kyo were to drain his chakra to the point where he could barely survive, he would be useless. I told you not to go astray, but to stay here. Figure came riding the waves. Green hair, a long hook in his hand. Yun and Zishui rushed forward immediately, trying to subdue their opponent, but just as they arrived in front of him, Yugura out, and a water mirror appeared. Mirror technique. Jingyi immediately the other party's identity. Gura, a type of citrus. Avoid that mirror, there might be something about it. He quickly reminded him, but it was two figures rushed out, mirroring each other. They charged towards their opponent. Gura then used this moment to break through defenses. The opposing Jonin was clearly a wind release. Instead of wasting chakra using the hit technique, he directly formed hand seal, spat out an endless stream of water. The water formed a huge water prison, trapping people who rushed over. A massive burst of water surged. After he finished dealing with things, he discovered that Jingyi had also taken care of things on his end. Hazuka Chikage still had some chakra, but his was covered in scrolls with black sealing on them, which looked like variegated sealing techniques. That's not all. Beside them, a slug much larger than a human and enveloped Hazuka Chikage, who was in a sealed state. Quit. Sealing techniques and spirification techniques have all been. Did it get any more outrageous? With so many methods, only a fool could say. Gura cursed inwardly, completely giving up hope for the rescue plan. Protracted war is pointless. Then, a huge wave surged in, and he used her escape techniques to escape, having no notion of getting entangled with Kyochi and the others. Clearly, bringing back things was more important than killing. Clearly that young ninja, and, the next, by Yunzao brandished his sword. The release sword technique cleaved through water prison, creating a vacuum zone. Following, the 5 people escaped the water prison. Gura dared not linger. Memorizing Kyochi's appearance, he fled full speed. Yun and the others were not skilled in water techniques and managed to escape with difficulty. Yugura had already gone with the current. The flooded prison dispersed. In the morning, Baiyun and the others were hiding. He could no longer even sense Yugura's. Stop chasing. Jingyi called out to everyone. Gura is no longer a Jinchuriki, but his water release ninjutsu are still powerful. He's focused on escaping, and they simply stop him. More. Who knows how many hidden ninjas are in the sea? If something goes wrong, I might lose Hazuka Chikage, which would be a real loss. Genma Shiranui and Kurenai Yuhi were the to gather around Kyochi. Stared at the slug, her eyes filled with the same style as Tsunade's. So gentle, she really wanted it. Stopping. This guy is from the Hazuka clan. His memories and physique are worth studying. Protecting him is the most important thing. Yi stroked her hair. Kurenai responded, but her eyes were mixed on the slug. The slug found it amusing, so it separated one of its smaller ones and climbed onto her to play with her. That means it's safe now. Kurenai and Genma have been protecting Kyochi the whole time, very vigilant. On the contrary, the other 4. Senpei Zao the Jonin. If he encounters danger, he can say it's the point of you chasing after him if you're just causing trouble. You've all gotten too cocky after the Chuninams, haven't you? Yi glanced around. Although among the sick, only Might Guy was not his student, Kyochi was on good terms with Might Guy and was an elder of Might Guy, so it was natural for him to teach him a lesson. The 4 men with still water lower heads, not daring to utter a single thought about it and realized it was true. Baiyun hadn't been protecting the 4 of them earlier, he would have chased after Gura and killed him long ago. Never mind, John and Kyochi. It's normal for him to be a little unaccustomed to this of battle for the first time. White clouds speak to the children in them. He looked at the slug, frowned slightly, said, I didn't expect even the Hazukan to participate in the battle. Seems that Kurigakure is still not given. Ninja from earlier was probably of a high. He nodded. As the 4th Mizukage, Yura's status is certainly not low at this. He may even be the leader of this gathering operation. You caught him. Baiyun mentioned this, and I sincerely admire her. As a member of the Anbu, he knew the strength of the Hazuka clan best. Apart from lightning release, which could restrain them before they were fully based, other ninjutsu were almost less against them. Kyochi is really something this time. Using magic to create a space, and then with fire, Hazuka Chikage had no way to and could only reveal her human form. And that sword, Thor's sword, the generation truly values him highly. But if he were a 3rd generation descendant, he would be valued just as highly. There are indeed not many capable figures left Konoha these days. Who arrived first? Did you establish a intelligence exchange point? Now, we're in the Nagano Mountains. Walk. From chapter 90, he was instantly with a single sword strike. An island in the sea, on the border of the water. Gura, exhausted, went ashore. My lord, how is it? That idiot Hazuka Chikage's been captured. We must quickly finalize our next plan. So, keep an eye on a ninja who is about 15-16 years old, with silver hair, wields a sword, and is extremely skilled in water and earth release. Gura said coldly, does one of them know release? Ninja with a sword frowned and asked, he is Hazuka Senjin, users of the double night pounder. No, that's impossible. Without lightning, and in a riverside environment, even if they encountered the Hyuga clan, they'd escape. There's no way they could be captured alive. Hazuka Senjin didn't believe it. It should be a weapon, or perhaps that ninja also possesses release abilities. Gura frowned. He was too far away to see at the time. He then briefly described the situation, and Hazuka Senjin shut up with a grim expression. Idiot. He was cursing and swearing, and in a very bad mood. Based on this description, that young ninja is amazing. Not only was he able to detect Hazuka Chiki in her water-transformed state, but he also came up with a countermeasure, using release ninjutsu to isolate the river in the surrounding area. He can also absorb chakra and use sealing power. His slash is so fast that Hazuka can't react in time. Even among the 7 swordsmen, only one or two can achieve this speed. Who is that guy? Despite his arrogance, Hazuka Senjin dared not mate him in the slightest. By the way, his summoning beast looks a lot like Tsunade from Konoha. Gura delved into his memories and came up with another key point. Slug, it must be Tsunade's relative. Hazuka Senjin's expression turned grim, then grinned cruelly and said, I heard Tsunade's already lost 2 family members. Should we join forces and kill this one too? You mean the Senju clan whose whereabouts are ups? If so, is it possible that he is the leader of the eastern front of Konoha? Gura was concerned about this point. We need to gather intelligence first to can't act rashly before that. Let's see what the other 2 ninja villages are up to. Hazuka Senjin followed Yagura's words and said, let him live a little longer. It's just that the 7 swordsmen haven't all yet. Let's go and kill him together after we've. Gura nodded, a smile playing on his lips. It seems so. Hazuka Chikage's death might not be entirely without its benefits. The land of fire, Mount Nagano. Might Guy, being strong and fast, had already been reported and assembled, while Kyochi and Rakumo had joined the other 5 to protect all. The Hazuka clan has been deployed, so any area with water in the eastern part of the land of fire isn't very safe, unless enter the vicinity of the camp. There were Hyuga clan ninjas in the camp. Though the Hazuka clan could avoid ordinary methods, they could not conceal their. Upon reaching the foot of Mount Nagano and the patrol team, Kyochi finally heaved a sigh of relief. You led everyone up the mountain. Slug will follow you. Your morning and I will go ahead first. Yi turned around and gave Shiri Hong some. He is a chunin. Yi left in the morning. As the highest official, she naturally gave orders. Everyone else nodded in agreement. Jing Yi's speed suddenly increased. In the blink of an eye, he took Hazuka Senjin, who was in a sealed state, and headed up the mountain with Shirokumo Hayato. Campsite is located far from any course. The Konoha ninjas were also wary of Hazuka clan, fearing they might use secret technique to destroy the water vein, launch a sneak attack, so they carefully this place. Kyoto, Lord Hayate. The elite chunin in the camp immediately greeted the 2 of them. Pointing to the camp, he said, the shonen currently surrounding the camp are inside their tents. Hey, thank you. Kyochi led Hazuka Senjin inside. There were only 5 jonin in the tent, but Kyochi had met most of them when he taught the activation technique. He was most familiar with Gekko Ichiki, and one with the highest rank was Yamanaka Hiei. I didn't expect to see you here. He quickly greeted them. You're welcome. You're in command this time, and the third sent me here to help you process. Yamanaka Inoichi smiled gently. He's young now, much more handsome than in anime. Yi understood. Yamanaka Inoichi is the captain of Konoha's analysis team. He is young, holds a high position, and is an agent's expert in the ninja world. If it weren't for helping him, the third Kage wouldn't have sent him here. Timing. It's so good that you're here. He's from the Hazuka clan. I found him with Hayama Senpai. You actually managed to kill the Hazuka. Yamanaka Inoichi was very surprised. The Hazuka clan possesses the watermation technique, making them ordinary attacks and difficult to detect in conventional sensing methods, causing Konoha a great headache. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent so many Hazuka clan members to accompany them. Result. Jing put the person down and carefully him, his face full of astonishment. He's not dead, he's still alive. How did you do that? Yamanaka Inoichi was incredulous this time. Killing them is nothing compared to what's so about it. Once the Hazuka clan is discovered, they can only be killed using certain methods. Capturing them alive is extreme. On closer inspection, he discovered that the techniques inscribed on Hazuka Chikage's were all high-level sealing techniques, such as the 4-symbol sealing technique. This kid even knows sealing energy is limited, and generally, it is difficult for the average care of many things at the same time. What about Kyochi Kanda? Swordsmanship, jutsu, water release, earth release, ninjutsu, medical ninjutsu. Oh, there's another sealing technique. Are any areas he is not proficient in? He secretly clicked his tongue in amazement. How did you do that? You caught it just that. With everyone's cooperation, it wasn't too difficult. He didn't elaborate. He used earth magic to trap the opponent, and then the opponent got up and was instantly killed by his sword. It's there to say, Yamanaka Inoichi was for a moment, but quickly came to his senses and said seriously, it would be better if he were alive. First, gather the sealing team and move him to a safe and secure place. Then I will slowly extract the information from his mind. Be careful of suicide, Jing Yi reminded him. Don't worry, I'm a professional in this area. Yamanaka Inoichi smiled. In terms of combat, he felt he was far superior to Kanda Kyochi, but when it came to through torture, he claimed to be sent to none in Konoha. Yamanaka Inoichi and his men immediately left camp. The Hazuka clan is a major in Kurigakure. Every member of the Hazuka clan must have a lot of information in their mind. They had no chance to obtain a living, member of the Hazuka clan before, so how could not cherish the opportunity to capture now that they had finally managed to. Yamanaka Haichi departed. The tent was silent. He spent the morning pondering the previous, while the others. It's all wood. Kyochi had demonstrated his strength when he taught the breathing activation technique. They did not underestimate this young gunman and commander of Konoha. And so, they still didn't expect that Jing Yi be able to catch such a big shot so after arriving. Ghost Lantern Clan. This is probably the Hazuka clan member to be captured.